Welcome to America This Week. United we stand. The election is a few short weeks away, and the first presidential debate took place this week. Round one in the fight for the presidency covered topics ranging from race in America, the Supreme Court, and of course, COVID-19. We're going to break down the highlights from the night a little bit later, but first, President Trump has called for an investigation of alleged ballot harvesting and potential voter fraud in Minnesota based on a report released by Project Veritas. Joining me now is James O'Keefe, founder of Project Veritas. James, thank you very much for joining us. Before we delve into what you found, let's hear what President Trump had to say on the debate stage this week.
These people aren't equipped to handle it, number one. Number two,
Okay.
They cheat. They cheat. Hey, they found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military. They all had the name Trump on them.
And now, James, you found something even more disturbing. Let me let you explain it in your own words. What'd you find?
Well, we found a car filled with ballots in Minnesota. This was a person bragging about how their car was filled with absentee ballots. The ballots were taken away from the elderly inside these residences. We also have on tape an exchange of money from a ballot harvester in exchange for a voter registration form, which is a federal felony. So we have hard evidence on tape. There you have it there. Hard evidence just of all these ballots in Minnesota and Minneapolis that were harvested illegally in violation of the federal law. And this is one of the first videos of its kind where you can actually see the crime there on tape.
Yeah, it's disturbing to hear it and see it, and it literally looks like they're at some times paying money for ballots that aren't filled out yet, presumably to fill them out and turn them in. Ilhan Omar has been circulated as one of the people may have been benefiting from this ballot harvesting scheme. I noticed Snopes says there's no tie. What do you know about it?
Well, what we know is that her deputy campaign guy, Ali Issei, was behind this. We have sources in the community saying this. And we also know that a lot of the people in the Somali community feel like they're victims. That's why they wore the hidden cameras to expose this. This is an open secret in Minnesota and Minneapolis that this is happening and that the money is coming from the campaign. One of the ballot harvesters told us in Somali that he was told to vote for Ilhan Omar and that the political campaigns pay for this money. So you see in the videotape the actual cash, $200 cash, is given to the voter. You can actually see it in the video. It is a federal crime, and this is one of the first times we've actually been able to see it. And we think that Barr and the Justice Department should do something about it. And we know that the police are now investigating in Minnesota because it's also a crime to have in your possession more than 3 ballots at any time. So it's a state and federal crime on the tape there. And as you say, it's probably the strongest evidence so far of ballot fraud.
There's discussion of whether this is systemic or not. Systemic ballot harvesting. Are there any other examples of this?
Well, it's systemic there in Minneapolis, insofar as there's hundreds of ballots on the tape and dozens of examples and instances. I mean, it's not just anecdotal. It's self-evident that this is happening in Minnesota with thousands of ballots. Dozens of sources recorded on tape saying they do this. It's going to be happening elsewhere. You're going to have 25 million mail-in ballots, or however many the number is. So it doesn't take a mathematician to deduce that if this is happening at such a scale in one place, it is going to be happening elsewhere. The challenge, Eric, is getting the sources close to the fraud to report it. That was the challenge.
That's what I want to ask, James. That is, the string. Where does the string lead? Follow the money is it? I used to host a show called Follow the Money. You can't believe how much corruption you find when you continue to follow the money. Do you have a link to where this money is coming from to buy these ballots?
Yeah, it's coming from the campaign, according to the sources we spoke to.
Which campaign, James? Which one? Are you talking about Ilhan Omar's campaign? Or
Ilhan Omar campaign, and a man named Ali Issei runs her campaign. It's coming from them, according to our sources, according to the voters that are pressured to do this. They're coerced to do this. They're lined up inside the voting booth, and they're told who to vote for. The ballots in that car, many of them were blank from Mohammed Liban Mohammed, who's in the vehicle. They were blank ballots that they had paid for. They had pressured people for. Yeah. So this is systemic. The margin of victory in Minnesota was hundreds of votes in 2008. So it's just a question of, Eric, more whistleblowers out there in the United States who are close to these campaigns, willing to betray the confidence of the people who are committing fraud.
I got to go, but I got to tell you, this is extremely disturbing. Personally, I think people should be disqualified if there is such a tie to the campaign like this. They should be absolutely not allowed to be elected to these offices in America. James O'Keefe, thank you very much for your time and your work.
Thank you, Eric.